Hello Africa, hello Uganda, hello change makers. I am by the names of Obedju Samuel, commonly known as Strike Machine. I'm a civic human rights activist and a Pan-Africanist. What I'm about to share with you today is a report of an extended study conducted into the 2015-2016 Uganda campaign's financing for both presidential candidates and members of parliament in their various races across the country. I need to make you aware that in 2015, 4 months before the electoral processes had commenced, the Public Finance Management Act was amended by the Parliament of Uganda, giving the executive or the central government powers to borrow from the central bank without seeking any permission from the Parliament. I need also to let you know that before the 2015-2016 electoral processes had commenced in Uganda, the National Resistance Movement, NRM, had spent 100 billion shillings. Meanwhile, Forum for Democratic Change spent 1.5 billion shillings, and Go Forward spent 327 million shillings. The percentage combined spendings for both political parties and independent candidates were 1. Conferences and cash for the party flag bearers was 43.3%. Facilitation for the campaign managers and agents was 18.4%. Selected campaign materials was 13.5%. Donations and fundraising was 13.0%. Others was 11.8%. Now, rating the spending for the presidential candidates to that of the members of parliament was, we found that the members of parliament spent 464 billion shillings, while the presidential candidates spent 122 billion shillings. By the end of the 2015-2016 Uganda campaigns, the National Resistance Movement, whose party flag bearer and chairman then was General Museveni, spent 1.7 trillion shillings. Independents spent 54.2 billion shillings. Forum for Democratic Change, FDC, whose party flag bearer was retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besigye, spent 75.2 billion shillings. Go Forward, whose party flag bearer was John Patrick Amama Mbabazi, the former Prime Minister of Uganda, spent 55.5 billion shillings. Democratic Party spent 10.7 billion shillings. Now, Uganda's People's Congress spent 5.4 billion shillings. Meanwhile, others spent 11.8 billion shillings. Approximately 2.4 trillion Ugandan shillings was spent by both political parties and independent candidates in the Uganda electoral campaigns of 2015-2016. You find that this money was enough to pay for teachers' salaries in both primary, secondary, and tertiary public institutions of Uganda for 5.5 years. The same money was also enough to construct 1,113 636 classroom blocks in the institutions of learning of Uganda. It was also enough to buy 23 brand new cancer machines for the health institutions of Uganda. It was also enough to construct or drill 17 boreholes in every single parishes of Uganda. It was also enough to construct 2,448 kilometers of tarmac road in Uganda. Now the big question remains, where did the money come from? And where did the money go? Was it used to build new schools? Was it used for infrastructural development? From a national budget of 14.5 trillion then to a budget of 24 trillion in the financial year 2015-2016. On amending the Public Finance Management Act of 2015. Within only 7 months of its enhancement, it gave the incumbent President, General Museveni, license to appropriate supplementary financing without a prior approval of the Parliament. It is very unfortunate that almost 72% of all this supplementary financing went into the Ministry of Defense, whose budget in most cases are classified and not available for public scrutiny. Now I also pose you a question. What can you do about this to limit the influence of money into elections? In my own opinion, I urge us to call for or advocate for tougher laws to help regulate money in politics and election campaigns. Such campaign finance law that, among its others, demands disclosure of campaign incomes and expenditures. I also call upon Ugandans, both the young people and the elderly, the rich and the poor, to join me in advocating for the reamendment of the Public Finance Management Act of 2015 to prevent the incumbent president from encroaching into the public fund during campaigns. Thank you, ACFIM. Thank you, People Power. Thank you, Faraja Africa Foundation. Thank you, ActionAid Global Youth Platform. Thank you, Alternative Uganda. Thank you, Restless Development.